It's me, Sonia. Is my screen all blurry or something? So, I decided to stop in and do a little live. I told you guys I was gonna come on here on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I don't want to not show up. I'm seriously worried that my camera screen is blurry because it's dirty. I'm looking for something to clean it with. Should have done it before, but I've been busy. Um, I'm just gonna wait till some folks show up. It's always nice to see you guys in here. What I wanted to talk about today. Hi, Bet Callie. Welcome. Hi, Beverly. Nice to see you. What I wanted to talk about today was a little bit like yeah, it's live. Hi. When your life is going in one direction and you think that you know where this is heading, and you've been doing things a certain way and you feel like you're doing what God wants you to do in your life, and then it becomes obvious that God is taking you in a different direction. And in a way, it's kind of scary, but it's also exciting. um how do you deal with that? I mean, we want to walk the road that God is laying out for us, and sometimes it's really not where we've been walking before. So this has sort of been my experience lately, like, and I just had to, I mean, look, you have to, I have to trust God. I have to, if I know that, okay, that there's a directional change happening here, I just have to kind of go with it and not try to control the situation myself, control the outcome myself. Just sort of let go a bit of trying to play God myself. I mean, it's quite, simple. Um, I'm talking about, like, now I have to watch what I say because of the climate online, but you guys know I've been on here for a long time. Hi, Mia. I've been on here for a long time, and you guys know I used to do a radio show on American Freedom Radio too. Interviewed a lot of people, got into a lot of topics, and on here as well. And you might notice lately I'm not really doing like political videos and information videos that much. I mean, I do still share some information. Sorry, there's that thing again. I still haven't figured out how to turn off the notification sound on Telegram. I do know what's going on out there. It's not like I'm not following what's happening with the world, but I posted a blog article about this on a Patreon the other day, where I share my links, but also some extra stuff about how the internet has been weaponized against us. I've talked about this before, and I had to really think about this a lot, because it's definitely not what it used to be. And we have to be really careful about what we do, because in a way it's like a lot of traps have been laid out and people are just sort of walking right into them. And this is just happening on so many levels. As far as the whole informational thing goes, I feel like the audience that I have, you guys are really well informed. I think in the big picture, you guys know what's going on. I mean, I think you also know when the winds start to change. Yeah, sure, we can talk about a lot of things. Yeah. I think you guys get a feel for what's going on. And I'm like just totally watching myself here, on how I put this. I I know I've said this many times before. I've said it years ago, and that's why I don't really want to repeat myself, because in a way, a lot of the stuff that is still very relevant right now, and it's really playing out right now. I was talking about this years ago, 5, 10, 12, 13 years ago. I was talking about um the psychological operations that are at play, and how the internet could be used for that. Um, I we think that because, like, really, oh, anybody can just post stuff, so it's not like it's a corporate controlled media. People can just put stuff out on the internet. But yeah, somebody wants to, oh, my mods aren't here. Well, whatever. Get rid of it later. Um, like I'll give you one example. I have to watch again. Like if I do, am I allowed to name the country that was doing this? That they like, for example, use chat rooms. So they can like recruit people that are working for them or that are paid. They're not really just people who just decided that they wanted to post this, and they'll recruit like armies of people to spam online chat rooms, online forums. Now, that doesn't mean, so this was the really clever strategy. Like I talked about this years ago when this guy Cass Sunstein was explaining how they were going to deal with the, truth seekers and people who are like kind of pushing alternative narratives to things, to like major events. Yeah, paid off. And he was saying how they were going to take that movement down. So there was a lot of infiltrators in groups so that the groups would then implode, like they would just destroy themselves from the inside. So that was one thing. Another thing was recruiting opportunists. So there are some people in these sort of alternative media um, that they're really opportunists, and so you can get those people to sometimes not have all the integrity that they ideally should have, because they in the end, like one of their main goals is just to make money. They just happen to use this as their business. And then the other thing was using the forums and the chats, and that doesn't mean to spam the chats with like the official narrative of what they want you to believe, but to spam it with so much BS that it was just so complete chaos. And I had talked about this back in like 2011, 2012. And that was like even before this whole like fake news thing, where what happened was there's so much fake news was put out to create a lot of confusion, and they give an excuse to like then censor things because, oh, it's fake news. But not just the fake news, like there's worms in McDonald's hamburger meat, that kind of thing. But all kinds of other things, which were basically like what you would call conspiracy theories. But we're not talking about like Gulf of Tonkin. Yeah, Mia, you know what I'm talking about. So there's stuff like that goes on where the government eventually gets exposed for what they did. Hey, Bella, nice to see you. Gulf of Tonkin, for example, or Tuskegee experiment. I mean, I'm sure there was a time where people would have said, "Oh yeah, I heard that they're not really treating those people with syphilis," and then someone else would have said, "Oh, that's a conspiracy theory. They would never do that." And then later on, it turns out it's true. I mean, there were so many things like that, medical experiments and like war-related stuff. But I'm not talking about those kind of conspiracy theories. I'm talking about like really out there stuff. And the reason they put this in, because they knew that there are enough people out there, sorry guys, that are just open enough to this and become almost kind of like addicted to, I want to know more, I want to know more, I want to know more, because they really want to find like the ultimate truth. But at a certain point, you can just insert a whole lot of BS, and then they get confused, and then they'll start listening to that, and then it's like incremental, like the same way that cults will like slowly brainwash the members. Yeah, going down the rabbit hole, and for sure there's some real rabbit holes, and I've been down them too. Listen, I'm not naming any names, but I think you guys know. I mean, I could think of a few things. I've done videos about it so many times. I feel like a broken record. Just go look at my videos, because I've covered this stuff before. But it's like, when somebody comes into a cult, the first day you don't bomb them with all the stuff, because it's just going to scare them off, because they're still retaining their ability to think critically. So they're going to be like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. But if you like layer it incrementally, eventually like they can't tell anymore, so then they'll start believing more and more and more. But it's the same for everything else. Like for literally everything you expose people to, expose them to one thing, and when they sort of acclimatize and adjust to that, you can layer on the next layer. It works for everything. So it works for, like, I mean, this could work for example, propaganda, but you can just keep ramping it up. Oh yeah, let's push this idea, and then when you got people solidly there, let's take it to the next level. You don't go from 0 to 60 with propaganda. You can just layer it. That's why people are like, they look back in history and they go, oh my God, how did this happen? Well, it didn't happen overnight, but you can slowly condition people's minds. And I've talked about this before. It's a lot of the same stuff that is used online and in the media. It's the same things that magicians use, and in real life too. It's slow conditioning, slow condition to conformity or obedience to whatever the hypnotist is telling you to do, so that eventually, like, you'll just do whatever he says. So it works sort of the same way. You introduce an idea and then you raise it up just a little. Like, literally, you guys pick some issue that's out there. I'm not going to name any. Just think about some that have come up where, like, the boundary gets pushed a little bit and people are like, well, it's kind of weird, but some people be like, yeah, that makes sense. And then once you get enough people, then you level it up and you level it up and you level it up. So that they just work on it like that. They did the same thing also to destroy the like the people that may have been like the most critical thinking, or like a good percentage of them, by feeding so much baloney into the system, like the online system, that those people, they try to bamboozle as many people as possible. You'll bamboozle the followers, and then you'll bamboozle the marginals too, if they're not careful, because you're feeding all the stuff. They're going further and further and further down a hole that leads nowhere, until anyone looking in from the outside is going to go, well, that's ridiculous. But it's the same way you desensitize them in that area online to these things until they went right down that hole. And then the people who weren't exposed to it, they still can look at it and go like, what are you guys doing? What do you, that's totally nuts, right? Anyway, I know this is like, I'm talking a little bit cryptically, but I'm hoping that you guys can fill in the lines. But like, I'm watching this whole thing play out, this whole psyop play out. And, keeping in mind, like, yeah, I've got a Facebook account, I've got stuff going on online. So, like, they know about me, they know lots of stuff, whatever. We're all being tracked, and like, that's already a fact. That's already a done deal. Wait, hold, I'm just looking at your comments. Wait, what's this? Yeah, the frog in the pot. Yeah, but it's for everything. It's for stuff in real life, it's for the stuff in the media, it's for changing our way of life. And like, I'm not saying that that's always a bad thing, but if you look at any kind of social change, it didn't happen overnight. I mean, women, like, first were, the suffrage movement, trying to get the right to vote. And then eventually they got more rights in the 60s. Like, when my mother married my father, she would have had to have his permission to get an operation. Like, that's where we were just like shortly before I was born. So I mean, like, women's rights, for example, or being a good thing, even for something like that, it doesn't happen overnight. It happens incrementally, and it's the same thing for all the other stuff. It's the same for the good, and it's the same for the bad, and it's the same for like all the nonsense. So they've been doing that. And meanwhile, yeah, women's dress, that's another thing. Yeah, it's, and then some of it happens organically and some of it's engineered, but they know how it works and they know how to engineer it. And so the problem is that our favorite place to hang out, one of our favorite places, cyberspace, is become like a battlefield, So I'm trying to be very careful not to feed it. And I've noticed something, like, in my YouTube feed. Do you guys notice, like, that they feed you? Oops, wait, it's gonna give me an echo. Do you guys notice, like, they keep feeding you like really like strange stuff in your feed? Like, there's certain contentious social issues, but it's like just a few of them, and they just keep feeding you this. Like, they really want you to pay attention to this. Have you guys noticed? I'm trying not to say like which ones, but I think you guys know. I mean, there's certain things that just keep coming up. Kind of reminds me of like when there's an election and they always bring up like the reproductive rights issue, and like everybody has to talk about that and like bring it up, and like people will get really into it. But it's, hi, Armor of God. It's like they've got certain things that they really want you to pay attention to. Like, and why are you so obsessed with this stuff? I don't mean you, but like, why has society become so obsessed with certain very particular social issues for certain marginalized groups? I'm not talking about the BLM thing and like, that, I'm not talking about that, but there's certain other things out there. But there's a lot of people in the world that are not treated fairly, that are disadvantaged, that have like urgent needs that are not being met. Like, for example, my husband is a wheelchair user. So because of me being with him for nearly 20 years, I'm very sensitive to the plight of people who use wheelchairs, and they're literally still treated like second-class citizens. I mean, they can't, never mind getting into a bathroom, they can't even get in the front door. And like, I don't remember there ever being like a wheelchair user meeting with President Biden talking about how they can't get in the front door, let alone the bathroom, right? Like, where are those people? There's lots of disabled people out there that are, they're still, I mean, is it just not that much of a marketable issue, or like what's going on here, right? Because I keep seeing certain issues coming up, and those boundaries keep getting pushed further and further and further, and yet there's other people that get almost no attention. Barriers, yeah, barriers to just living your life. Obviously, you know, there's issues like racism and classism, like people who are poor being, you know, disadvantaged, and like there's people who are disabled who are disadvantaged, and like nobody pays any attention to that. Waiting for the day when there's going to be like huge marches in the street for disabled pride. Like, how come this doesn't happen? What about autistic people? We get discriminated against a lot. People think we're weird. How come we don't have meetings with like the president, or I mean, why is Justin Trudeau's going on RuPaul's Drag Race? Okay, here I'm talking about the issue. Is the first time, I think, that a prime minister has ever been on this kind of an entertainment show. I mean, can you imagine, I don't know, like Jean Chrétien wouldn't have even gone on Julia Child cooking show. Like, it just wasn't done. Or, you know, can you imagine Brian Mulroney going on Maury Povich or something? Or maybe Stephen Harper does Dancing with the Stars. Like, this never happened before. Isn't that kind of weird? And now Justin Trudeau is going to go on RuPaul's Drag Race? I mean, it's just really unusual for a prime minister to go on any kind of a show. And the first time that they do that, yeah, Justin Trudeau is supposed to go on RuPaul's Drag Race. And when I heard that, I was like, that is really strange. Yeah, it's true. He is a former drama teacher. But, I mean, you know, if he had done that, imagine if he had come into office and he had gone on a drag race like within a few months. I don't think it would have gone over so well. But at this point, people are like, well, better not say anything because, you know. But it is really strange for a prime minister to do that. Yeah, just like you don't see a head of state. Like, can you imagine, I don't know, let me think of like a reasonable head of state, not Boris Johnson, because he's a bit of a clown. I mean, I don't want to get censored for that. Don't send me the meat grinder. But yeah, Boris Johnson, I could see him like, you know, going on like Britain's Got Talent or something. Professional flatulist Boris Johnson. I don't know. I mean, but Joe Biden, terrible example too. Like, what is up with the heads of states these days? Like, being totally crazy. I just thought of like 3 countries and they're all nuts. Okay, how about Emmanuel Macron? Maybe he has a little bit more self-respect. Could you see Emmanuel Macron doing, I don't know, I don't watch that many reality shows. Maybe he could do The Swan or something, like give him a full makeover. Or Angela Merkel does Storage Wars. I have paid for these things and they are mine and I shall leave with the things. Like, it seems completely absurd, right? Very weird. So why do they keep pushing these certain issues, you know? Anyway, something very strange is going on. To the point where I'm like, you know, I don't want to get sucked into it. Because I feel like the goal here is to just make people keep arguing and worrying about like certain issues so we don't pay attention to other ones, which is a really like long-standing tactic that's been going on forever. That's why, like, I don't want to comment too much, even though sometimes these things are very absurd and kind of funny. Hi, Anonymous. Yes, you can ask me something. So, you know, funny thing is, like, as I'm really enjoying doing these lives with you guys because I love to see you and I love to get your feedback here and see what's on your mind, you know. But before I was we were going through the pandemic, so I was reporting a lot on what was going on in Quebec. we're at a different phase now. I think we're in the carbon tax phase, honestly, or like the early stages of the carbon tax. And it's great because like people have gotten really used to living with a lot of restrictions, travel restrictions, you name it. They're kind of like really used to submitting at a level they've never submitted before. So it would be they're more primed to be ready to accept like certain things we're going to have to do to save the planet. But well, we did it before, so it's not like it's the first time. Well, that's sort of where we're heading. And also the implementation of like the digital ID, that's going to help a lot to like keep track of what everybody's doing. Hi, Indigo Reina, thank you. But we're definitely moving in a different direction. I think like, oh, hey, Vicky, nice to see you. Hey, how are you? So I think you guys know what's going on. Oh, Guinevere. Oh, hey, thank you so much for the super chat. Guinevere Moonmist. You guys check out Guinevere Moonmist channel. She is testing out one of those new weight loss drugs. Which one is it? It's not Wegovy, it's the other one. And she did a very interesting post about that. And Guinevere, I'm gonna come and see like if you're doing updates because I really want to see on how that goes. So I hope you post more videos about your journey with what's Ozempic? Ozempic, is that the one? Yeah. So please do tell us. Up here, they won't let us do it for weight loss, but apparently in the US, they're doing it like off label, even if you're not diabetic. So please check out Guinevere Moonmist channel. So where was I? Yeah, I think you guys know what's going on. Like, I think you know the big picture, and I think that on a spiritual level, a lot of us are on the same page with where we're at. I mean, you guys know that I do believe in the Bible. I know I post weird videos with my armpit hair sometimes, but I'm a Bible believing Christian. I'm just a weird one. So don't doubt that. I really feel like everything that's getting laid out is following very much like what Revelation describes. So I feel like, you know, God is sort of taking me in a different direction. And I can tell because based on what I'm motivated to do. Now, if I try to sit down here and I try to like create a video like, oh, 7 pounds in 13 days, Guinevere, that's amazing. You guys go check out her channel, Guinevere Moonmist, follow her journey like I'm doing. Should be interesting. Thanks for the update. So like if I sit down and I'm going to pull up, well, no, thank you, Guinevere. Thank you. And she's so pretty too. I don't know, what a doll. So like if I sit down and I start to like get some news articles like I usually would and put them together, I just feel like it's so draining. Like my heart isn't in it. Like I just feel like, I don't know, like it's like every fiber of my being is like, ugh, I don't want to do it. I feel like, yeah, it's going to take me like, I don't know, a whole ton of time. And what am I getting out of it? I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but YouTube itself doesn't really pay. So obviously it's not for the money. YouTube has sort of organized themselves so that certain people get lots and lots of attention and other people get to go in the, like in the dark recesses of the sub basement, which is apparently where they've put me, but it's fine. We can be in the basement together. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to reach a lot of people. I'm not going to get money out of it. Actually, what I'm doing is I'm spending a lot of time on it. And I'm just super sick and tired of it, you know? I'd much rather interact with you guys here, discuss. You know what I really want to do is create community with you guys at this point. You know what's going on with the world. Oh, you did? Okay, cool. Good. Yeah, go sub to Guinevere. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Guinevere. So, like, you guys know what's going on, I think. And, you know, some people are like, oh, I want to do something about the situation. I want to put videos out so that people can wake up. The people that were going to wake up, I think they're already awake. And there's a few others that are going to have a rude awakening. I kind of think that we're really far down the road. I think it's good that there are certain people who specialize in certain fields that are reporting on things that are going on, you know, whether it's environmental or economic or scientific. And those people have a lot of clout and they really know what they're talking about. And those are people that I think people will listen to and respect their opinion. And everyone has a different path, right? For me at this point, I feel like, you know, we're in this really difficult time together. And what I want more than anything is to create community so that we have each other. And I'm also doing stuff in the real community. I used to spend a ton of time making these videos, like those little videos that I put out, those 10 or 15-minute videos that I have like over 1,000 of them from the last 12 years, a lot of them. You may not know this from looking at them, but they take 8, 10, 12 hours to make. Those little videos take me forever. Maybe it's just me, but yeah, they take a really long time to make. It's an enormous amount of time and effort. And all of a sudden it just felt like, I don't know, I used to just love sitting down and like opening up stuff and being like, let's talk about this, and like putting videos together. But I just started to feel like, I don't know, my heart's just really not in it. I need to feel alive. Don't you guys, you know, when you're doing something? Oh, Guinevere, thank you so much. Thanks for the super chat. There's this like diagram that the Japanese have. Wait, let me see if I can find it. Hold on a second. Where is it? I think I saved it. Oh, here it is. Okay, I can't. Oh, wait. How do I open this thing? Okay, well, hold on one second. I'm going to open it so I can maybe see the name of it. Oh, okay. Well, okay. So it doesn't fit 100%, but it's called Ikigai, Japanese concept meaning a reason for being. So you have these like 4 overlapping circles. I think that's what you call a Venn diagram, like what we used to do in elementary school. So on the top, it's what you love. And then there's what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you're paid for. The ideal is when all 4 of them come together. Now, if you have what you love and it's overlapping with what you're good at, what you get is passion. If you're doing what you love and you're good at it, you're getting passion. And if you're also being paid for it, though, that's called a profession. But there's a sort of area in between where if that's not what the world needs, then you get satisfaction, but a feeling of uselessness. So you might be very good at what you do, you're getting paid for it, and you love doing it, but the world doesn't need it. That's interesting. What if you're doing what you love, and it's what the world needs, and you're getting paid for it, but you're not good at it? Then this creates a situation of excitement and complacency, but a sense of uncertainty. So like these things all have to sort of come together. What you're good at, what you love, and what the world needs, when that comes together, delight and fullness, but no wealth. You know, the world needs craft teachers. You love it, you're really good at it, but you just don't get paid for it. You have to do it all volunteer. So that's passion and mission, but no wealth, you know? So like the ideal situation is where you're doing what you love, you're good at it, the world needs it, and you're getting paid for it. And I realized, like, what am I doing on YouTube? It's not fulfilling anymore in this way. There's so many gaps in this. I'm not really getting paid for it. Doing what I love, to be honest, like I don't really love sitting here and putting these things together because I don't feel like it's what the world needs anymore. I don't feel like the world needs me to do more videos telling you just about, you know, the week to week, what's going on here. I mean, at the time during the pandemic, am I good at it? Thank you. I hope so. During the pandemic, I really wanted to share with you what was our experience up here, because I know it was different for everyone. So I was telling you a lot about how things were changing. Right now, I feel like this has kind of settled down, and what people are wanting to do is to like, well, we don't want to forget about it. I'm not like ready for amnesty and that whole thing, but we're moving beyond it. We're like trying to find some return to normalcy and reconnect with people. And so am I going to keep sitting here and trying to find something to tell you about what's going on up here in Montreal? Honestly, it's not that exciting. Oh, thanks, Art Acrobats. Appreciate it. But you know what I think the world really needs right now? What I would love to do, what I'm probably good at, sometimes I get paid for it, is the world needs community. We all need community here, right? We need connection. So that's why, like, that's what makes me feel alive again, is to be here and like actually talk to you, and you guys can talk to each other, connect with each other, go check out each other's channels, right? Because what did they do to us for the last 2 years? They tried to split us up. They try to isolate us as much as possible. Do you know how crushing that is for your soul? Yeah, you do. So I am willing to like put that whole like news thing aside so that we can talk and we can have more community. And I don't want it to just be about me. Like, you know, Guinevere's making videos about her experience with Ozempic. That's pretty interesting. So go check out her videos. And like, if you guys are making videos too, I'll come check them out. Maybe I'll go look at who's making videos, check out your channel from the comments, and then I'll mention you next time. Also on my Patreon, I created a chat group just for us, which I'm hoping would be a cool place to chat, because I know people don't really want to be on Facebook so much. And you know, I know that maybe you feel like you have privacy on Facebook because only you can see what's on your page, or only the group members can see what you posted. But realistically, it's like tied in with the CIA or something. I mean, remember that whole DARPA thing about LifeLog? And the day that ended, because, oh, well, maybe it's not legal, then they opened Facebook. So, yeah, I can't see what's on your wall, but Big Brother is watching. So I created a chat room, but I don't want to give out the address because I want it to be just our thing. So if you want the address for it, I'm sorry, but you have to join my Patreon, but you can just donate like $1 for one time. You'll get the address for the chat. I really want this chat to work. I want it to be a little place where you guys can just drop in and say like what's on your mind. And it doesn't need to be like another Telegram channel where you're constantly posting all the news. Like, we're all on Telegram. We know what's going on out there, right? Yeah, LifeLog and Telegram. Yeah, the same day. The chat room is open. I want you guys to be able to come in there. If you guys made a video and you want people to see it, come in the chat room, post it, post the link so we get to know each other. And you use your screen name. Nobody's going to know who you are. I mean, is Big Brother going to be watching that chat room? I don't know. Maybe he is, but not as much as Facebook. I mean, Facebook is really LifeLog. And I kind of think like all these apps, it's the same thing. Like whether you go on, I don't know, what are all these things that they use? Me and You, what's that thing? I feel like an old lady now. I get the names wrong. MeWe? Like, it's all the same thing, you know? Hi, Bella. So, I mean, yes, it does involve $1. But I think it's worth it. And you know, if you pay the $1 1 month, come on my Patreon. It's patreon.com/thetruthergirls. So that you're on the Patreon, there's a post there. If you guys are patrons and you haven't seen it, I took the time to write you a whole big post. Thanks, Joey. About why I want to focus on community. But like real community. I want us to be there for each other. I don't want you to feel alone. Like, I get people that message me and like, I feel really bad for stuff that's going on in their lives. Like, you know, we're people, and everyone here is a person. Everyone here matters. And I don't want anyone to feel like you're alone, because you're not. Like, we have each other here. You know, and that includes me, because like, I love you guys. I think that, like, remember in the last video when I was talking at one point, well, I did this live about menopause, right? But at one point, somebody brought up the issue of telomeres. Oh, hey, cool, Art Acrobats. Hi, Holly. Somebody brought up the thing of telomeres. Okay, let me look up exactly the definition, because I don't remember exactly, but let me look it up. What is a telomere? Telomeres. Okay, hold on a second. I'm going to read this to you because this is a big deal. Hi, African American. You know, it's funny because I went to your channel and like I saw your username and I was like, a freaking American. Then I was like, oh, I get it. That's great. A freaking American. Yeah, he makes good videos too. Go check it out. A freaking American. Okay, what is a telomere? Listen, don't let these people kill you. Seriously, listen to this. You got to keep yourself alive. You got to take care of yourself. Do not let them crush you. What is a telomere? Telomeres are distinctive structures found at the ends of our chromosomes. I mean, don't let the negative people kill you, right? They consist of the same short DNA sequence repeated over and over again. Structures at the end of the chromosomes. In humans, the telomere sequence is TTAGGG, and it's repeated 3,000 times. What do telomeres do? One, they help organize each of our 46 chromosomes in the nucleus of our cells. Two, they protect the ends of our chromosomes by forming a cap, much like the plastic tip on our shoelaces. If the telomeres were not there, our chromosomes may end up sticking to other chromosomes. They allow the chromosome to be replicated properly during cell division. And this is from yourgenome.org. I mean, this is a lot of information. I hope you don't mind. I hope you find it interesting. Oh, bergamot? Really interesting. Anti-aging. Yes, the telomeres. Every time a cell carries out DNA replication, the chromosomes are shortened by about 25 to 200 bases per replication. Interesting, because your cells carry out DNA replication through your life. So they get this stuff gets shorter. However, because the ends are protected by telomeres, the only part of the chromosome that is lost is the telomere, and the DNA is left undamaged. Look, what happens to telomeres as we age? The end replication problem during DNA replication accounts for the loss of about 20 base pairs per division. Okay, science talk here. Oxidative stress accounts for the loss of 50 to 100 base pairs per cell division. So basically, it says when the telomere becomes too short, the chromosome reaches a critical length and can no longer be replicated. The critical length triggers the cell to die by a process called apoptosis. And that's actually not a bad thing for your cells to die with apoptosis, because they do like have a sort of lifespan. So it is kind of normal for them to die. But if a lot of them, like what I've heard is that if you're under a lot of stress, and your telomeres get shorter and shorter and shorter, like this is aging, it's like rapid aging. Telomerase, what does that do? It's an enzyme that adds the TTAGGG telomere sequence to the ends of chromosomes. The result of aging cells is an aging body. Oh no, my son just said a bad word in the background. Telomerase is also found in high levels in cancer cells. Well, that's interesting. Oh yes, so they never die. I guess that things can go wrong with that. Telomeres. Oh yes, they say it's not certain whether telomere shortening is responsible for aging in humans or just a sign of aging. Well, anyway, that's a really long explanation. Oh my gosh, you guys all went to sleep, like you're all gone. They all disappeared. I'm reading this whole thing about telomeres and it's like, okay, so the thing is that apparently when the telomeres get shorter, it's part of the process of your body sort of like dying, right? Like your cells not being able to replicate anymore. I'm not a scientist, obviously, although I do have a scientist costume in my closet, but I won't put it on. But you can re-lengthen the telomeres. The way that you want to do this, and this is the part I wanted to tell you, is by reaching out to other people and helping other people. When you're reaching out and connecting and helping other people, you're helping yourself. So that's why I feel like it's on my heart to just more focus on community. And I mean, yes, there's a scientific side of it with the telomeres, but basically I don't want you all's telomeres to get short. And I just really feel like that's what we need to do, is to reach out more. So I'm really trying to figure out what is the best way to do that? So one of the ways is when we interact here, but also I want it to be even better than that. And I don't want to just make a Facebook group. So if you guys have some ideas, I was actually thinking, what might be cool would be like if we had like a Zoom or something where we could see each other's faces. Like do something like some kind of Zoom meetings. So that's one thing online. I want more community, but you know what I've been doing? I've been really busy in the real community. Yeah. That's why I'm saying, like, if you're not on my Patreon, like, I'll encourage you, like, if you don't mind, like, donate $1, but please join my Patreon because it's a way we can stay together and, like, maybe we can do more things to, to connect. Yeah. Okay. I'm not really expert at Zoom. And that's another thing, like, yeah, the donations that you give would go also to like help me fund the Zoom platform. I don't know much about it, but anyway, I get like Zoom Professional and we could have some kind of Zoom meetings or something. So the other thing is like I'm trying to focus more on being sorry guys, useful and helpful in the real community. So I've been very involved lately with like peer-to-peer support kind of stuff in the real world. And I know that I'm doing the right thing because like I feel really alive when I'm doing it. If I'm sitting here trying to figure out some news to talk about and spending, oh, thanks, a freaking American. That'd be cool. Hi, Siri Rainbow. If I'm sitting here like going like, let's see what's interesting today. You know what's really interesting to me right now? Helping other people. That's like really interesting. Like and not just helping where I'm I mean, yes, I help Aaron. I'm like his paid caregiver and there's that. But helping when I'm not getting paid at all, but like I see like really that I can really be useful to another person. I feel like that's a great way for me to serve God. So I've been doing a lot of that off of YouTube, like I'm pretty busy with that because I feel like that's a really good use of my time. Like if you can do some kind of community service or peer-to-peer or helplines or whatever it is, like to help your fellow persons, and it's also really good for you, and I'll tell you, man, I just feel so much more alive when I'm doing that. So I feel like, God is taking me in that direction because he's putting it on my heart to focus more on community. Teachers help people too. Yeah, it's cool. And so that's where that whole like, what is it called? Ikigai things comes into. I mean, yeah, no, I'm not really getting paid to help people, but whatever. How am I spelling my first name? Sonia. I just feel like I want to do things where I feel motivated. Otherwise, it just sucks, And mostly what I do is a lot of cleaning, like I showed you in my video about the first day as a real girl. It's true, I really do a lot of cleaning. But I got to do something else other than that. Otherwise, like, I'm not motivated with anything. Like, I always have to have projects and stuff that I'm doing that's, like, super motivating to me. Do you guys have that, too? Like, let's say there's something you're really passionate about. You can follow that passion. Then, all of a sudden, you feel like getting up in the morning and you feel like doing other things. Not just that thing, but, like, everything. And when you're just slogging away doing stuff that you're not really that into, and there's nothing like super meaningful, like really motivating, then everything just gets harder. And I was starting to feel like, oh, what's wrong with me? Like I'm not motivated. And then I realized, well, I'm just doing the wrong thing. It's that Ikigai again. It's just not doing what I love. That's the problem. Maybe I'm good at it. I don't know. Maybe the world needs it. But maybe not. I don't know. Not getting paid or not very much. I don't know. This Ikigai graph is like a good way to sort of put it visually, but you really have to do like what's on your heart, And the funny thing is with God is he just kind of leads you. Yeah, it's like it's your path, but God is like leading you on it. And sometimes it's such a big difference. Hi, Nicole Ray. Hi. Hi, Lady Liberty. So sometimes the path is really different than what you were doing before, and you're like, well, wait, if I spend all my time doing that, I don't have time for the other thing anymore. But it's like, actually, I was really sick and tired of doing the other thing, and this is making me feel like really alive. So I feel like when I'm doing what God wants me to do, I know because I feel like really lit up and alive, you know? So that's sort of what I'm focusing on now more. And I mean, the other thing is like we always want to be earning a living. Somebody asked me like I should do a video on how I've managed to live without working a 9 to 5 job for like it's been a really long time now, using multiple streams of income. They're all small streams, but like when you have enough of them going, I guess it makes ends meet. It can be done, you know. I mean, working in an office a 9 to 5 or something like that doesn't really work for me. I'm not a very good employee. I've got all kinds of problems. Um, Community work. Let's just say if like what is it that you identify with that you feel like you have something to offer, you know? I mean, community work, we think of like right away, like, oh, I don't know, the homeless shelter or whatever. I've done community service with different types of people. Wherever your heart is. I mean, I know someone, yeah, people always think of the homeless because they're so visible, because you see them right out there lying on the sidewalk. So you think of them. But I'll give you some examples of things that people are doing. There's this one woman I know who's autistic who volunteered at, or maybe she's actually getting paid for it, at a center, like it's like a community center for autistic people. And she's doing a cooking class. And I was like, well, that is amazing. She's autistic and she's living her life successfully. I mean, I'm not measuring that as in like, oh, she has a, 6-figure salary or whatever, but as in she's doing what she wants, and like she's like a happy person. She's doing okay. She's not living with her parents, but she's independent, and she has a lot to offer. And she realized, well, I know how to cook. She's really good at cooking. And so she starts like doing this cooking class for autistic people. What I'm doing, it's like sort of mentoring, like kind of mentoring sort of program with other women kind of thing, I don't really want to give the details, but I mean, there's always stuff that you can do. Like I've done stuff through my church. I've done stuff like with refugees, for example, like you find out what the need is and whether there's some place for you to help meet the need, and it can change. Like you might find that there's a need for you to do something at one time. There's a need for you to do something else at another time. And it's really weird too, because I complained about the cleaning in my apartment, but when I'm helping other people and I'm doing their cleaning and I'm doing it for God, I have all this energy. Yeah, and I can do stuff through my church, like I did arts and crafts with the kids, because they needed somebody to watch the kids. They didn't have formal Sunday school. And I have all this background as a teacher. I mean, I have a bachelor's degree in art education. So like I volunteered. So then I felt so much like I'm doing the right thing, So it can be, yeah, Siri, I don't really want to say, because like, let's just say like through church and that kind of stuff, but I don't want to give the details, basically that kind of stuff. I don't want to make this about religion or, but I'm just saying, like, here's another way that I've discovered a way for me to make myself a lot more useful. Okay, you guys know that I've been taking care of my mother, but now she's been living in a retirement facility where they do most of the work for me, so I don't have to give her baths anymore and like do that kind of stuff or do her laundry. So I would go and visit her, but as she's getting like progressing with her dementia, If I go and visit her at a time where like there's nothing for me to physically do, I feel a bit like useless. Like I don't, um, yeah, don't worry. Of course, I pray for discernment. Like I absolutely know, like when God puts something on my heart, I know if I'm doing what God wants me to do. I absolutely know because I feel like totally lit up and motivated for it. Don't forget, I'm 51 years old and I've been through a lot of churches and a lot of like stuff, you know. So I know what I'm doing. I know it's good right now. Um, and I pray about it and I ask God for it. But you know, sometimes God will answer you by like saying, "Here, this is on your path now." So now, like, go and do it, because you'll be like, "Well, that's not what I usually do. I'm not sure if I want to go do that." Well, try it. Maybe that's God put it on your path. You know, it's different, but go and see. So with my mother, I felt a bit useless going over there because it's like, what do I do? Honestly, I felt like I don't know what I'm going to do with her because she can't really have conversations anymore. She's losing a lot of her vocabulary and she gets confused. Like if I sit there and I do 51, not 41. Yeah. If I do all the talking, she's just going to get confused. If I show her pictures of my son, she gets confused. It's like overwhelming. I take her for walks, but I really felt like I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing here. Like I'm just checking that she's okay. And then I realized like if I show up for meal times, I can help because and I can help the whole place because there's one less person for them to feed. And so then I have something to do with my mom where it's not like I'm just bombarding her with talking and showing her pictures. Um, I can stay there for the meal. I can totally take care of my mom for the whole time, and the time goes really fast because I'm doing something really useful and my heart is in it. And yeah, the hairbrush and the nails done. See, I do that too. Like I do her hair and I give her pedicures and I do that kind of stuff, but I can't just go up there and give her pedicures every time. And then I realized like, hey, if I show up during the meal, because they've got like what, maybe 30 people there, and there's about 5 or 6 people there to feed them. So some of them eat by themselves, but a lot of them need to be fed, including my mom. She needs help. You can't just give her her tray and walk away. But there are some who will just eat the whole thing by themselves. And I just realized, like, oh, I can help. I can help not just my mom, but I can help everybody by being here when it's mealtime. So now I feel like much better about that, you know? Anyway, the point is, um, you got to go where your heart leads you, like where God is leading you, you know, and I think you know where God is leading you when you feel like you're being of service and you know that it's what God wants you to do, and like you get energized, you know, because when I'm doing what's not right on my heart and what God doesn't really want me to be doing, I have no energy. That's what I've noticed. You guys notice that too? Like that's you know the gift of helps that they talk about in the Bible. It's a supernatural gift. It's not only just about prophecy and those kind of things. It's also a gift of helps. And I believe that's the gift that God gave me, is when I'm helping, I get like, wow, I get charged up with energy because I'm always complaining. I'm tired, you know? And this doesn't mean like, well, I don't take time for myself or I'm always, you know, just, I'm not being a martyr and like just doing things for other people all the time. But I'm looking for opportunities to serve God and to do what God wants me to do and to, you know, to follow the path basically. And that's why like things change on YouTube, because I feel like actually I'm not helping. I'm not helping the world. I'm not helping myself. I'm not helping you guys. This isn't what we what we need at this point. We need community. And I need to be helping outside of the internet, you know. Yeah, the energized feeling by doing the right thing. Well, that's what it is. So I know I'm doing the right thing because I'm helping other people in a way that like where I'm actually being useful, you know? Yeah. So I was kind of wondering like what is it that you guys like to do? I mean, the ideal thing would be if you like I was saying with this ikigai, if you do what you love and you're good at and what the world needs, meaning you're being useful but you also get paid for it. That's cool too, but I mean, I do get paid to be a caregiver. If I wanted to, I could pick up more hours. I could go take care of more people, but it's not just about money, you know. Sometimes it's like the money really doesn't matter because what you're doing is really really important. No, it's not about ego and validation. It's not about that. It's not that. It's really the when I was hungry, you gave me food, and when I was naked, you clothed me, and when I was in prison, you visited me. And they said, "When did we do this for you, O Lord?" And he said, "What you do for the least of your brothers, you do for me." The It's just the joy of doing something for the service of God. That's what we really want. What we really want to be doing in our heart is we want to be doing God's will. I don't know, we think that we want something else, like, oh, I don't know, we want the fame or the money or the glory, or we want the attention or whatever it is, right? Like, we want a man's attention or we want something else. But, people run after that stuff and then they come out on the other side and they're like, I'm really not satisfied. Happens all the time. Like, you can look at, like, tons of people, let's say beauty queen on Instagram, she wins competitions, she wins beauty contests, she's got all the attention and the respect and the whatever, and then she goes and terrible things happen, right? Lots of people who are very glorified in this world are totally like bottoming out. I mean, yes, we need projects and we need to be creative, but in the end, what our hearts really want is to be serving God, like to be doing God's will. That's what our hearts really want, like to be of service to others. That's what he asks us to do. To love one another. He asks us to serve one another. And there's lots of ways you could be of service. I mean, maybe what you're really talented at is finance, for example. It doesn't have to be taking care of the elderly. That's just me. Maybe you're really great with money and you're a great financial advisor and that happens to be your job and you're paid a lot of money for it. You're still serving God because you're helping the world. You're giving something that only you can give. It's a gift that you have that God, when he brought you into this world, he equipped you with this gift and you've gotten really good at it and people need this help from you and you're doing what you're good at. And so you are serving God, even if you're getting paid for it. Right? But we're all different. I am not good at financial advice. Hi, Lena. I mean, we're all good at different things, So I can just give what I have, but I know that that's just what I have to do. So that's why, like, I'm just doing all these lives here because I'm spending a lot of time doing other kind of service in my community offline, and I really just don't feel like God wants me to spend all my time sitting here trying to make videos, because for what am I doing it for, honestly? And as far as like, oh wait, somebody keeps asking me about my rent. My rent's okay. I mean, we went to court. I'm countersuing my landlord. Like, they dropped their case. I'm suing them now to get some money back that I gave them that I shouldn't have. We'll see what happens. I'm not worried about it. But you guys all have things that you're like, think about it, like what makes you feel alive, There's got to be something. I mean, like, I like to be of service to other people, but I'm surprised, like, lately it's become like really like a passion. Like, I just can't wait. Like, I'm so like, I just feel like I always have time for that. That's weird, I have time for that. And I just feel like that's what really matters. Yeah, there's seasons with God. There was a season where, like, I guess God wanted me doing a radio show and he wanted me like making lots of videos on YouTube, and there was a need for that, and I was enjoying it and I was good at it and everything, and I was even getting paid for it. And so that was the right thing for me to be doing at the time. But I feel like right now, I mean, like I was saying at the beginning of this, you can see the climate online has certainly changed, and this new kind of online climate, I don't feel like it's my place. It's not my I don't know. It's not my environment. Like, I don't want to be part of that. I feel like it's a lot of like arguing and creating a lot of division and a lot of distraction. I never wanted to do that. Like when I did make videos and I interviewed people, I was just trying to share information. But I feel like, there's so much information out there. I'm pretty sure whatever you want to find out, you can find it. I mean, all my videos are still there, most of them, not all of them, but I had to take certain ones down. But I mean, the stuff is there. Like I talked to you about colloidal silver, for example, how to make your own colloidal silver, which I still do. Oh, well, I don't make it that often, but I still use it. I still use it for some things. But I mean, the video's already there. So if you want to know how to make colloidal silver, I don't have to tell you again. I don't know. Maybe you don't know what's in there, what's in my library. Like I got a lot of information on different things. So I just didn't feel like repeating it. But yeah, like there are different seasons, and I feel like we've been in a really dark season of division and isolation, and what we need now, it's like community, and we need to be like supporting each other. Coconut oil, yeah, the oil pulling, that really worked well for me. My teeth are still good. I never had those root canals. I never had any of them. I had one from before, and that one broke off, and I'm still walking around with a broken tooth because I spent all my money on travel, and I would still have a broken tooth. I didn't get it fixed. Vet and vet tech needed. Yeah, there's so many things that are needed. Well, I mean, look, you guys, I can't give medical advice, but like, I mean, I use essential oils. Like if I have issues with my mouth, I use a small amount of essential oils in coconut oil for my oral hygiene. I mean, so far it's been good though. It's worked for me and my son too. So like, that's the thing. Like I talked about these things. And I didn't feel like I need to keep repeating myself. And I feel like right now, like, yeah, like I said before, like we went through this 2 years of this nightmare, and I shared a lot with you about what was going on. And if something really interesting comes up, I'll share it with you. There were a couple things, but okay, so there's being of service, and the other thing is creative projects. And I feel like on YouTube, it's the only thing I really like doing on here is the connection with you guys at this point, and the discussion that we can have. I like to see like your feedback, your input. I'm so sick and tired of talking to a camera all by myself. It just totally sucks. It's like I can't even do it anymore. Oh, the EMS pulsar, EM pulsar, electromagnetic pulsar. Oh, I still have the zapper. Yeah, none of those things are like magic bullets or anything, but I mean, they've all had their place. They've all helped me in different ways. My friend who's growing a food garden, she's so amazing. Like she is such a brilliant person. She used to be like in IT. She's really, really, really smart. And everything she does it big. Yeah, she made this community garden. She grew all this food, but I think that in the end, like she had some issues with neighbors that they complained about there being a garden because they wanted to put up bouncy castles. So I don't think she's going to be doing it again next year, which is kind of too bad because I think she's had this garden for like 3 years. But I mean, to me, it makes sense, and apparently it did a lot of good for the community, but apparently some people just don't get it. But she's doing okay. So there was one other thing. I always need a creative outlet, and I need to have projects where I feel like there's a purpose in it, Yeah, and I'll do a video at some point about streams of income. I think maybe I'll just do it live, Wait, what's this? Oh, thanks, Nicole. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I try to stay based, I try to stick to the truth. I don't like to like rile people up. I'm not here to like tell you what to think. I'm not here to tell you how to feel. I'm not here to like get you mad at people or whatever, I just want to be here to support you actually. But yeah, like I do like operate by having multiple streams of income. It's kind of the only way. I don't want to make this whole video about that, but YouTube at one point was a pretty good stream of income for me, but that was a while ago. I mean, realistically, like I have to do that because like I said, I don't make a good employee. I do have disabilities that like, they just hinder me. I mean, I'd probably be pretty good at like transcription. I type like you wouldn't believe. I type like a freaking bullet train. You know, I'm a super good typist. I'm a pretty good secretary, but I can't really be in an office. So I could probably do something like transcription from home, but I don't know where to find this kind of work. But like that I can do, or translation, but I don't know where to find that kind of work. So like I usually have like multiple sort of gigs that I yeah, earn $10,000 a week by staying at home, right? Like I had to click on one of those ads. Yeah, that's what I need to do, right? Because I have too much trouble being in an office because I'm like allergic to the lights and the noise, and I don't know, I just get like basically what happens to me is like I'll be okay for like a first couple hours, and then actually I don't even know if I'd last that long because I haven't worked in an office or anywhere like that in like almost 20 years, and I was on a lot of medication at the time, so I don't know how it would probably be worse now, but I'd get through the morning, and then by the afternoon, it's like I had no brain in my head, and I just keep making mistakes. Like no matter how hard I try, I just make mistakes. And now I don't take any medication, so I don't know. I'll probably have less threshold, but I prefer this. I just prefer to not be on meds. I don't believe in it. Anyway, they always come with problems. So yeah, I'm not really. I don't think I can really work in any kind of environment besides maybe home. It's just too hard for me. Like that's because of my autistic disorder. Like I have like horrible like sensory. Well, I don't want to say horrible, but I have really bad sensory problems. Like I just don't process well, and I'm not able to function. Like I can be in the pharmacy 15 minutes before I start getting tics. You know, I just can't do it. I'm like disabled in that way, but I can do home care because it's a different kind of environment, and there's so much work in home care. So right, like I could pick up more hours, but I don't want to do that. I want to leave time for other things because I need to do something creative. So YouTube was like my creative outlet. And now I'm feeling like, you know, the internet with the way things are, and it's very insecure, and it's not a very good stream of income either. And there's just no point investing a lot of effort into it in terms of like as a work thing, as like a source of income. Um, Pay for playing piano. Yes, I've done that. That's one of them. That's actually a lot of work because you have to do a lot of practicing, but I won't get into that at some other point. But I have other projects. I don't want to say what they are because I don't want to jinx them. No, I wouldn't do tour guiding. And you need to have a license to do that here. No, I'm not going to be growing salad greens. I'm a creative person. Like what I'm good at is like entertaining. I'm good at writing, entertaining, making stuff, and caregiving, basically. And typing. I'm a really good typist. So, and teaching, you know. Yeah, I used to play piano at seniors' homes. So that's the thing. I have some new projects that I'm working on. One of them, I have a lot of anxiety because it involves an online platform. And what's holding me back is just my anxiety. I've done so much work, research, and like finding how to do it, and like all the stuff that I need to do to set it up. And then in the end, I'm just like, where I get blocked is like making the account, like getting it set up, and it's just because of the financial stuff, because like now you have to like put in all this info, and I actually have a company, but for some stupid reason the government thinks I didn't do my taxes for 2020 and 2021, which isn't true. I did my taxes, and they sent me this notice, and I sent them back a registered letter, and I said, what are you talking about? Here are your notices of assessment for my company showing that I did my taxes. And they were like, well, we're going to shut you down if you don't submit your taxes. It's like, but I already did it. So that kind of freaks me out, because if you set up an online business and you set it up with your company, and then the government shuts your company down because they think you didn't pay your taxes, which you paid, then what happens? You know, hold on a second. Oh, I don't have any water. Oh, 1 second. Let me just get my son's water bottle. Sorry. So like literally that's what's holding me back, because I don't know, before you could just put in your personal information and then collect it for the company and then declare it on your company info, and I'd like to do that, but I don't know if that's legal. So that's the kind of dumb stuff I'm dealing with. That's what's holding me back, and like I don't know who to ask about this. So that's one, and the other one doesn't involve any online stuff. And it's just like a big endeavor, undertaking that I've been sort of working on quietly. And yeah, because I have to have some creative outlets, because that's what so that's the thing. You got to be useful, and if you're creative like me, you got to have some creative stuff. Online teaching, no, like I don't want to deal with other people. I don't want to have to like make appointments and stuff. Like I can teach English, I can teach art, I can teach piano, and I've, yeah, well, that's it. Siri, what happened with the clothing mannequin? Yeah, I'm still using her, but I'm only on one platform. But I want to move that to other places, but that's the issue. It's just, what's a CPA? Is that a chartered accountant? Yeah, I have an accountant, but she charges me an arm and a leg. You know how much she charges me to do my taxes every year? Apparently it's standard, but it's like over $700. The little, wait, the little packets that smell good. You mean these things? Oh, they don't smell good. They eliminate odors, like they really do. It's ClO2 gets activated by the moisture in the air. But now if I say that, then I guess they're gonna say that I'm having a paid promotion, but I don't get paid to tell you that. I don't get paid to like tell you about them. But I mean, if you're looking for them, I still have them. I can leave the link. It's not a paid promotion. It's just an affiliate link. It's a lot of money, yeah. $750 or something like that. It was like a ton. Like everything's gone up so much. But I mean, I just paid it. I was like, well, I guess I have to pay it. But it's so much. Like considering how little I make, like with my company, like it's really not that much. That's a big chunk. Like a lot. I mean, what, like a quarter or something? 175 USD of it for corporate taxes? Because somebody told me to incorporate like back in the day because they charge you too much income if it's on your personal. So anyway, I finally incorporated, and then after that all my income went down anyway, and like I never had any profits. Not after. I had profit before. I had to pay taxes, but then I incorporated, and then like, yeah, you pay lower taxes, but I didn't have profits. Oh, 175. That's weird. Yeah, I got charged a lot, and I was like, I don't know, man, is that normal? I mean, she's a good accountant and everything, but it's just such a big chunk of change. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, whatever, it's only money. I have to give it all away. Yeah, ginger, something like that. Yeah, I don't want to jinx it, but yeah, like I'm trying to like get set up with some like online stuff like that. Yeah, I gotta do it. It's all I'm good at. That's all I'm good at doing is entertaining people and making stuff, you know, and taking care of people and sometimes teaching. But teaching is really difficult. And I have so much passion for this, Ginger. I'm like crazy about it. Yes, I sell stuff online, but I sell on Marketplace, and Marketplace is tricky because people are looking for stuff on Marketplace to sell on Etsy and sell on these other places. Yeah, and nobody wants to buy your artwork on Marketplace. Like people go on Marketplace because, like, let's say you want to buy winter boots and you want to see if somebody's selling a used pair, and you're looking for a specific thing, and you go on Marketplace and you buy it for less. People aren't really like looking on Marketplace to buy art. Now and then, sometimes. I love Marketplace though. You know why? Because I like selling it in person. I meet all these cool people. But there's some things that they're not really for Marketplace, and I should be selling them somewhere else. It's just the financial stuff that's the problem. I gotta figure it out. But I don't know. I guess that's the Aspie in me that like that's where it gets complicated. Like I'm good at making the stuff, and I love doing the research. I just love the stuff. It's so interesting, you know? And oh yeah, Google Lens is my new best friend. Oh, oh, did Vicky go away? Wait, somebody's spamming me. Can I? There we go. Okay, good. I can get rid of people too if they do that. It doesn't have to be just Olivier. Yeah, I got rid of the dating app. That's so obnoxious when people come in here and they start spamming. Well, let's see. Wait, what were we talking about before? Oh, you paid $700 for taxes? Yeah, I know. That's not the taxes, just the accountant. It's like it doesn't seem right. I don't know. I mean, apparently that's the rate, but yeah, it's like Facebook Marketplace. Yeah. And I've been doing it for like a couple of years, and I just loved it. I mean, it was great. Like it was pretty cool. I realized afterwards, like I gave some things away so cheap. I mean, you guys, seriously, like I find stuff in the garbage, but like nice stuff, like really nice stuff. And I gave it away for like so little. I had these two Moroccan poofs. I'll have to do a video about this at some point, but I had these, because I don't know, some rich people throw out nice things, and I found these gorgeous Moroccan poofs, and I would have liked to have them in my house, but I have no space. I took them home and I fixed them because a lot of the tassels were all screwed up. So like fixed all the tassels and tied them all nicely, like while watching Amazon TV or whatever, you know. And I cleaned them really carefully, like with special stuff. And I got them looking so good. Like they were all like stained and dirty and the tassels were screwed up, and I fixed them up and I sold them. But the thing was, like, they were originally, they sold for $200 each new. So, you know, you can imagine, like, plus taxes, you know, how much people would pay for that. And I put them up for $30 each, which was like nothing. So then somebody was like, can I give you 50 for both of them? And I was like, okay. And I didn't realize, but those things, like, people really wanted them. And after I put them up, somebody messaged me right away. No, they didn't have bugs. No. And plus, anyway, I cleaned them. No, there were no bugs on them. They were fine. They were perfect. Plus, anyway, like, I have this, like, no bug will survive if I use that, you know, put it in a bag, and like, they're clean. But after, like, as soon as that one person, yeah, I got paid $50 for something that I found, but I did fix it up. But afterwards, like, as she messaged me, and I was like, yeah, sure, you can have them for 50, I guess. And then I realized, like, there was all these people that were interested, and I could probably got $100 for it. But in the big picture of life, does it really matter, you know? But I wasn't dumpster diving. They were like just straight up on the sidewalk. But it's so exciting. And my mother was a bit like that too. She would like spot something and she'd be like, oh, I gotta go get it. And she'd like go all the way down because she saw something like from up in the building. She like saw something in the alley. She'd go and score it, you know? So I guess I got a bit of that from my mother. But my mother was a real expert. My mother was like the kind of person who could go into a big mess and like pick out something that was really, really phenomenal and special, you know? But I mean, it's so fun. I just want to do more. Like, it's just fun. I'm just like super stoked about it. So I just want to like do more, you know, just want to do what I love, right? Make myself useful. The thing about art is, I can do art, but it takes a long time to make, you know. I don't feel like sitting around making art. I'd rather just find stuff and fix it. It's more fun. Anyway, I'll do another video about all that. But the purpose of this video is like God taking us in different directions, and that's just what I feel. Yeah, like pricing is something you have to learn. Like you learn by trial and error, you know. Sometimes you undersell and then you're like, oh man, that was crazy. Why did I sell it for that? Like, I sold some things for like so little money. Like I had this great coral tubes necklace. I sold it for $100. I found it afterwards, like the individual pieces of coral, like people who make jewelry will buy those individual pieces. Each one was like worth $20. Like the necklace was worth a lot more. And I sold a bracelet. I sold it, the whole thing, to her for $150. But you know what? She was such a nice lady. And she was so happy. I can't wear any of that stuff because I got a problem with my thyroid. So any necklaces I have that are heavy, like I have to sell them. But that lady was so happy that I was like, it doesn't matter. I could have asked for more, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. Yes, I could have put it up somewhere else, like on eBay or something, and asked for more, but what does it matter? You know? An original Barbie. Yeah, it's super fun, right? Like, I mean, it's so much more fun. So, and I love pretty things. And you wouldn't believe the stuff you find out. Like, I mean, I had this one pin and I was trying to figure out what it was. And then I finally discovered, it took me a long time. I used to like use a microscope. I had to do, like, I went to great lengths to understand the engraving on it. And then I learned all this stuff about this particular pin and where it was from and how they used this double plating technique with gold, like back in, I guess, like 30s or 50s or whatever, when gold was kind of scarce or something like that. So you like learn a lot of history along the way. And sometimes things that you think like, oh, they have no value at all, and then you discover that actually, no, this is like something really unusual, you know? But anyway, it's fun. It's just another side of me, I guess, another interest. So yeah, that's it basically. I mean, you have to go with the flow. Like I can't just keep fighting and be like, no, I'm just gonna keep doing what I always did. I'm just gonna like sit here in my room and make all these long videos and talk about Canadian politics. And I talk about it with my friends. My friend Lara, she's really she's pretty fired up about everything that's going on. She was actually interviewed by Police on Guard for Thee. If you go on that website, you could see her interview that she gave as a nurse. Very interesting story. I listened to the entire thing. Oh yeah, Ginger, she does. Oh, my mother would have been an absolute like pro at that. My mom was just like, now I don't want to say she was born in the wrong age, but if she was young in the internet age, she would have been a total Instagrammer and she would have been selling all her stuff all over like on Etsy and all those things. Because my mom had like the best eye. Yeah. Oh, I love fixing stuff. Oh my God. I want to show you this thing that I fixed up, but you're going to have to like wait. Do you guys want to see it? I want to show you one thing and then I should really go because I've been on here for way too long. But it is so much fun with you guys. Yes? Okay, so you don't mind if like I disappear out the door for 1 second? Okay, it's a project. Oh yes, I'm so excited. I'll show you. I'm gonna show them this. Okay, this is not something that I'm trying to sell. It's just something that I'm doing for me because I like to do it. But I mean, I would be happily do more. It's probably the kind of thing that like once I make it, then I get attached to it. Okay, so I got this shelving unit from someone. It was completely destroyed. I cleaned the whole thing, like sanded it down, painted it, primered it, everything. And then I did this and it's check it out. How cool is that? Now, I'm not 100% sure about the red, but it's like Victorian. It's all decoupage with all this Victorian stuff. And so there's Valentine's Day here. It's probably all dusty too. The only thing I haven't done is like, it's not a, it's a kind of shellac, but it's not like your regular floor shellac because that stuff turns like a horrible yellow color. So I have, it's like a resin. It's kind of like tricky to work with. It gets hard. You know, it turns into like glass basically. I've also heard that it's really toxic to breathe it in, so I'm a bit paranoid. But anyway, I'll show you this. It's like my first like decoupage project. So we got Valentine's Day here, then we have Easter here. And then it's, I don't know, I think this is like President's Day or something. I don't know, some American stuff down here. Can you guys see it? And then there's like Christmas related stuff at the bottom. I wanted it to be like, you know, the seasons of the year. And I spent so much time like cutting out all these pictures and like putting them in there like that. And then up here, there's can you see it? Like there's stuff like that there, and then on the sides there's more, and it's like all covered with roses. And you know, I was thinking like I couldn't decide what to do here because I started to cover it with things and then I felt like, I don't know, it seems like it's a bit much. So then I painted it and I used acrylic and I feel like that looks kind of like, I don't know, it looks kind of, it's not that good. If I want this to be like red but like enamel, like really smooth and thick and shiny. But yeah, basically, I don't know if you can see it without the shine on it. But come on, that's pretty cool though, right? It's like all Victorian. And I love Victorian stuff. And so, I don't know, it's got horses on the top. I'm not sure what to do with them. I had to think it over a bit. I ended up leaving them there, but I mean, I could saw them off. But it's fun, eh? Yeah, so like, you know, I repurposed some things that I had that have this kind of Victorian style. Where am I going to put it? In the bathroom? I mean, if I ever get it finished. Like, I just have to glaze it. And then the back, this cabinet was totally destroyed though, right? Like the back, you see, it's like a veneer here. But it's, I mean, I should just take the veneer off, like right now. Look at it. It's trash. And that's just plywood underneath. And I should probably just take the veneer off. And then it's got holes here. This is where you anchor it. So I didn't figure out exactly what I was going to do with the back, but I could always get another piece of veneer and like just put it on. You like the horses? It's kind of cool. I'm not like super into horses, but rip. Yeah. I wasn't sure what to do with them, and I thought about, like, I just couldn't decide what to put here, you know? I could have put gold, or I could put red. I kind of like the red. And that's probably why I didn't glaze it, because in the end I couldn't decide. And then my rabbit got hold of it here. So now I have to find something to cover this edge, but that's not a problem. Those rabbits, they get into everything. But I just really like the style. Like, man, it looks really cool, you know? I would kind of like to like saw off the horses and just have it like that, but it's one of those things, you know. Sometimes you're really motivated and you put a lot of work into it. Paint the back. Yeah, I think I have to put like a veneer on the back and then paint it or whatever, waterproof it. It's like I gotta waterproof that because it's all paper. But yeah, man, that's fun. And you know what I have? I've got this mirror. See, this is like a really old like farm mirror, and the glass isn't very good, but that's kind of cool too. It's like kind of spooky, right? And I'd like to put all that Victorian stuff around the mirror, and I thought that would be fun, right? Like, you know, put more of that around there. I mean, I could think of some things to do with this stuff, but I don't want that to fall over. But yeah, I mean, I have to do something creative. And, oh yeah, set. Yeah, I could put that mirror in the bathroom too, but I mean, I just don't know what to do with it. I've had that mirror a really long time. But anyway, like, yeah, I like to make stuff. And, oh, you bought some of those pouches during the pandemic? Yeah. Well, that's cool though. These things are really awesome though. I mean, you know, like I said before, they're amazing for like getting rid of like horrible smells when they're, you know, like shoes that, what can you do kind of get the smell out? Or I'm serious, like the dog peed on a sheepskin. Like, how do you clean a sheepskin that got peed on it? They're great. I mean, just horrible smells, whatever. They just like totally nix it. Even the car, they're so good like that. But you know what? I don't know if I told you guys this. The guy that I was dealing with at that company, he passed away. Sorry, bad news. I miss him too. It's so sad. He was a really great guy, and he was a Christian, and he was an awesome guy. So I don't really deal with them too much now, but like, yeah, I mean, I used to talk to them a lot, but I mean, I still have the pouches. How's the rabbit doing? They're doing great. They're friends. Yeah, relaxing and soothing. Yeah, and I was like really sad about it. Yeah, but I mean, it happens, right? I'm sure he's in heaven. I'm totally sure he's up there. He'll probably be there when I end up there too. He'll be like, "Hey, Sonia," you know. Could hear him laughing. Yeah, he's such a good guy. And I remember when he used to talk to me, encourage me because he wanted me to get on board, and he'd be like, "I'm telling you, Sonia, it's a God thing." How's my son and my hubby? They're good. Yeah, they're good. Gunner's okay. They're fine. He's playing some video games. What time is it? Oh, it's 10:30. I have to put him in bed. But yeah, so there's my Victorian cupboard. And I don't know. I just want to do what makes me feel alive, you know. I feel like I'm most alive when I'm doing what I'm good at, and it's serving other people, you know. His name was Dan. No, not Jeff, like the YouTuber. No, his name was Dan. He was American. Dreams of your relatives that have passed? No, not so far. I think I had a dream about my father once. Oh no, wait, I had a couple of lucid dreams with my dad. Yeah, sometimes like I can hear Dan's voice like when I think about him laughing. He was so cool. Oh, cool. A freaking American. Yeah, like, like do what you're inspired to do. I guess don't overthink it. Sometimes I'm like, well, I won't make any money doing that, whatever. But you know, it's not just about that. I mean, yeah, you hope that you make a living doing what you're good at, but I also sometimes I just got to do some service because I think God wants me to do it, you know. And sometimes it feels weird to change directions and do something different, but sometimes it's what you got to do. Wait, somebody else said something there, like a comment or whatever. Oh, Sarah, no, he was sick. Like he'd been sick for a really long time, and he didn't see a doctor because I guess because of what was going on. Like he wasn't able to get care. But I don't really know exactly what happened to him. But I know that I had talked to him on the phone, and he'd been sick for like a long time, and it was getting worse. Mm. Oh yeah, the lucid dreams. Um, I should probably like make that another topic. I'm always like telling myself, oh, I'm only going to talk for 20 minutes. And then it's like, it's always an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes. It's like a radio show, you know? And then I'm like, I think I said everything I needed to say. And I'm tired. Like I have to put Gunner to bed and whatever. Um, yeah, lucid dreams. Like it was weird. I had two dreams with my father where I like saw him in a dream and I knew like the first one I saw him and he was in the house in Vermont. He was in my parents' house in Vermont. And it was like and my mother was there and it was like I knew that he wasn't alive. Like he was his ghost and he was in the house. And I saw him and wait a minute. Wait, how was it? No, but wait, no, there were two dreams. Oh no, don't tell me. I'm starting to forget what they were. No, I never fly in my dreams. No, I had one. Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, the second one. First one, like it just caught me off guard. I saw oh no, that's right. Yes. Okay. So both of them was in the house in Vermont. Okay. And my parents had always said, when I die, I want to be buried in Vermont. I want to spread my ashes in Vermont. That did not happen. Um, so with the first one, he was in the house in Vermont and he was wearing this blue sweater and he looked just like he did in this picture on the fridge. And my mother was there doing whatever she does. And my dad was just sort of hanging around and he was smiling and he had the same kind of smile he had in the picture on the fridge. And I don't think I really said anything to him, but it kind of registered with me like, that's my father's ghost. He's in the house in Vermont. And we did have a ghost in the house in Vermont at the time when I was growing up. And then it got sent away, which is another story, which I'll tell you. And and then the second time I had a lucid dream with my father. So I had a dream. I saw him and he was in the house in Vermont again. But this time he was wearing a khaki shirt and he was wearing his floppy khaki garden hat. But my mother wasn't there anymore. Yeah, I'll tell you the ghost story. I had a long ghost story, but I really can't tell you today because it's like way too late. No, he didn't look young. He looked just like he did when he was older, like around 82. But he died at 87, but he looked like roughly like when he was 82. So the second time I find myself in this dream and I see my dad and he's in the house. And this time I'm like fully aware and because the first time I woke up and I was like, that was my dad. That was his ghost. I just saw him in the spirit world and like that was him. And I should have said something, but I didn't think of anything. Yeah, he was Jewish. So the second time I see my dad in the house. And this time in my dream, I'm like, I'm dreaming. That's my father. That's not just like a dream. That's his ghost. Like, I know that I'm dreaming and I'm aware that my father is like communicating with me through a dream. So I'm like, quick, think of something to say. Like, don't miss this opportunity. Like, say something smart, say something to your dad. So he knows that right? So I was like, oh, and I'm like, oh, hi, Papa. I'm so happy to see you. That's what I came up with. And then he just kind of smiled, but it was sort of like a, like kind of sad smile. And then I was like, I'm telling myself, oh, say something to him. And I was like, did you see my son? Did you see how big he is or something like that? And he just kind of went like, yeah. But it was like kind of a like, you know, he looked so sad, right? And then he was gone and that was over. And I remember thinking afterwards, now I know why when people encounter a ghost, they never ask them really good questions. It's because it happens so fast that it like totally catches you. Like it's like literally a matter of seconds and it catches you so off guard. You don't have time to be like, oh, hey, here's a really great question about the afterlife or, whatever, or give them some important message or get a message from them. It was like, it's so fast. And like, he didn't even answer me. He just smiled, but it was like I could read his mind and I knew he was sad. And I knew why he was sad because he was in the house and now my mother wasn't there anymore. Because she stopped going when she got sick. And then we ended up having to sell the house. So it was like, I saw him. And he was like, where's your mom? Where's mom? And I, no, I didn't say, can I help you? I didn't say, can I do anything? I didn't have the presence of mind. It happened so fast that I didn't even have time to realize, like, he's here, he's looking for her. And I should have said, oh, Mummy's not here anymore. Mummy's in Montreal. I didn't even have the presence of mind. So then I was like, oh my God, now I totally understand like why when people have encounters with spirits, like they never they never like it's like you can't control what happens. Like you don't get to see anything. Scriptures acknowledge people returning from the dead. I don't know, like wasn't like Jesus up on the mountain with like who was it? A couple of prophets. Sorry, I forget which ones. Moses and one other one. And like there were definitely people having dreams where like something appeared to them in a dream. I mean, whatever. I'm not going to overthink that, but I was pretty sure that I saw my dad. And then I was kind of worried. I was like, what if he's stuck in the house like the other ghost, So I don't know, maybe he's still there. I kind of don't think so though, because I feel like sometimes he kind of talks to me, kind of encourages me with things or says something. It's like I kind of can hear his voice, like not like I'm hallucinating his voice, but it's like in my heart I can just sort of hear what he would be saying. So maybe I'm just completely imagining it, but like this one time I was driving and I was nervous about driving and it was like I could hear my dad going, "You drive very well, Sonia," like encouraging me, So I talked about that in the video where I started driving. I got my license really late and I was like, yeah, I feel like my dad is in the car with me sometimes, But anyway, yeah, that was the only time that I dreamt of someone who was not alive anymore, as far as I know. I haven't dreamt about any other people who've passed on. Well, after my father died, my mother was talking to him all the time. Okay, I'll have to tell you some other time about my mother's spirit communication with my dad because there was a couple of things that were kind of like really wow. But let's just leave it at that. But yeah, I just want to stop in and say hi. And if you're not on my Patreon, please check it out. Oh, Guinevere, a trickster spirit messing with you. Like, yeah, you can always like feel paranoid, but like I think when you see your loved one and like and like he didn't do anything, and it was just consistent with the previous dream where I saw him in the house, and I don't think it was anything, I wasn't worried. Anyway, but yeah, no, it was just a dream, it wasn't a hallucination or anything. I think that. Anyway, I've had other experiences with that. I'll tell you about it sometime. I just never really talked about those things, like these kind of paranormal things, because I don't want people to judge me, because everybody's going to be like, okay, bye, nice to see you. That people are going to be like, oh, it's just something evil or spirits or like something bad or whatever, because I just had experiences like that from when I was young. So I just never talked about it because I just didn't want to hear people's opinions, to be honest. Oh, Siri, I can't get into that now. Oh, I just didn't want to hear it because people can be super negative. And like, these are my personal spiritual experiences. So I didn't want to, like, I just didn't want to open the door to like the entire internet giving me their 2 cents. I mean, I had some weird experiences, but I know. Um, the prepper videos, okay, what do I think of the prepper videos? What I think they're good. I mean, I watch them, some of them, like you get some really good tips there. I'm not like super into prepping. Yeah, spiritual discernment. Yeah, you have that too. So it's not like you're open to everything and you have no idea. So far, I think my discernment's been pretty good. But yeah, some of the prepper videos are really helpful because they give you like really good tips for things that you can do or things you can prepare. But I'm not one of those people who has like a ton of preparedness stuff here, but I do have some. Like, yeah, and I've gotten good tips. I mean, like learn from other people's experience. Okay, so I guess that's pretty much it. Oh yes, about the Patreon. If you didn't hear me say this before, like you can join my Patreon, patreon.com/the truther girls for like $1 or whatever you want to give. But that way you'll get access to the chat room, and I really want people to use it. Like it's private chat room. Well, I mean it's out there. Don't give out the address because I guess anyone could go in it. But if we just keep it between ourselves, and anyone who's a patron, who's been a patron, can use it. And I don't know, you can put your prayer request or whatever else you want to talk about, or your photos of your pets, or whatever whatever's on your mind. So check out my Patreon. And if you're already on Patreon and you didn't go check out the chat link, please go check it out because I want us to stay in touch. So that's it. It's been fun talking to you guys, and thanks for joining me, and God bless, and I'll see you next time.